Joshua Williamson and Rafa Sandoval kill the Justice League as the whole team is summoned to aid the Justice League Incarnate with Great Darkness, which the villain Prior is readying to set free on the entire multiverse and end all life within it. Joshua Williamson continues to prelude his Dark Crisis event with an action-packed issue that kills off not just the Justice League, but surprisingly also the Justice League Incarnate, the heroes we've actually been following for most of this build-up to Dark Crisis. Williamson did a lot of rounding off of some loose plot points this issue, specifically with the Quintessence and how Darkseid killing them all the way back in the last issue of Infinite Frontier put them in the service of the Darkness, which was something I wasn't really expecting and really gave the Darkness quite an edge that I didn't think he would be getting this early on. The deaths as well were all rather low key, and I love that it continued the trend that Williamson has been doing with the lead up to Dark Crisis and focusing on other Earths and making Earth Zero just feel like another Earth in the multiverse and not the center of everything as it is with all the past Crisis events. And it's even brought up in multiple issues of his runs where everything seems to happen on this Earth, but I like that he's doing the opposite of that and just making it like every other normal Earth on the multiverse. Which of course everyone dies like every other Earth, and it's really fitting. Prior also being the vessel for the Darkness and the physical body for it was a lot of fun and really ties all of these crises together thanks to his history with them, especially with Crisis on Infinite Earths. Rafa Sandoval draws the League's massive battles, not sparing any detail to the scale of them, keeping the action moving really fast paced and even throwing in some really cool Crisis of Infinite Earths callbacks to the pages, like the Trinity dying echoing the time Barry Allen died, and them even using the same panel disappearing off into the background into infinity sort of look, which was really cool and really quite a neat visual representation of them dying. Justice League issue 75 was a fantastic setup to the big Dark Crisis event beginning in a few weeks, not dancing around the deaths of the Justice League and getting right into it with some fantastic action and a quick recap on what's been going on within Williamson's books leading into this. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10. Justice League issue 75 heads to Earth Zero, where all of the Justice League are suddenly teleported away. Oliver grabs Diana as they are teleported away, telling Diana wherever she goes, he goes as well. Diana doesn't think that was the wisest idea as they find themselves in a black room with Black Adam, who demands to know from the couple where they are. Adam tells them that he was in Kahndaq patrolling when something pulled him into a darkness. Diana knows that they know as much as Adam as they head through a door and find that they are in the House of Heroes and were summoned by the Justice League Incarnate. Dino Cop talks with Batman about Thomas Wayne's fate as Superman talks with his old friend Captain Carrot, asking if he's okay. President Superman says that he called the Justice League of Earth Zero to them because the multiverse is in grave danger and he thought the Justice League Incarnate would be enough to handle it, but they failed. He apologizes for whisking them away from their lives without any warning, and he had hoped to call more of them to the House of Heroes, but it is still healing itself, so Dr. Multiverse could only do so much. Superman asks his counterpart what happened since he thought Barry Allen was with them, but Calvin knows that he should have come to Kal-El the moment this all started. He reveals to Superman that the Flash is now trapped in a twisted reality and Darkseid has been enslaved by the Great Darkness, an ancient evil that has been awakened and has created an army of immense destruction, and in all his travels he has never known a fear like this one, and now the Great Darkness is trying to get into the Bleed and soon take over everything in the multiverse. Zatanna knows her father died trying to stop the Great Darkness before, knowing all about the Force of Annihilation. Adam knows that he has defeated the Force before, but Dr. Multiverse tells the heroes that they don't just fight the darkness, since it's a forever presence that's neither good or evil, and the most they can hope for it to do is rest and wait for it to rise again. Wonder Woman remembers being warned by the hands that shape the universe that her saving the multiverse would come at a cost, and her and the Spectre search for that cost, but all they found it was hope. Calvin reveals that the Spectre is now dead as the darkness attacks them. Batman wants to get the word to the Titans on Earth Zero, but Green Arrow knows that he worries too much and they are the Justice League, and stopping crises like this are their whole thing. Superman and Wonder Woman back up President Superman as Dr. Multiverse begins to teleport them all away. Dr. Multiverse snaps them away to the ruins of a dead multiverse, where Hawkgirl knows that all of this should have been gone by now. Prior says that it is gone and it was swallowed swallowed by the darkness, and it forced him to watch it over and over as his punishment for his sin. He reveals the antimatter chamber he has built has begun the great crisis, and he will use it to correct his mistake. Avery knows that this is the man who trapped Barry, as Superman remembers Pryor was a scientist who was one of the first people to have their world destroyed by the Anti-Monitor during Crisis on Infinite Earths. Batman also remembers him, knowing that Pryor is to go from one catastrophic event to another. Pryor knows that is why he's there now, at the site of another great disaster. Superman tells him that he knows what it's like to lose a world, but the Great Darkness is using him and they wish to help Pryor. Pryor considers it for a moment, but then calls them on their lies, knowing the Great Darkness only wants peace. And the darkness was woken by the heroes and their constant wars, so now they must die. He summons forth some shadow monsters, telling the League that the darkness has shown him the way, and they will now fight his dark army. The heroes confront the possessed Pryor and his army for the multiverse, but Pryor knows that this is just a taste of the Great Darkness's power, and once his work is finished, the darkness and his whole army will be free to spread peace amongst the multiverse. Batman attacks Pryor, calling for Black Canary's help to stop Pryor from turning on the machine. Green Lantern protects Batman from Necron, knowing that that's easier said than done, as the heroes find that there is something wrong with these villains, as even Zatanna's magic doesn't even work against the Upside Down Man, which it should. Superman knows that Aquaman was right, and Darkseid isn't some brute fighter like he is now. Wonder Woman thinks while fighting the God of War that these are mere shadows of the villains they pretend to be, as Dr. Multiverse figures that they are possessed by Pryor's darkness, but it is spread too thin across them for full control. Darkseid slams Superman into Calvin, saying that the darkness will be the end of everything, and once they are free, the darkness will wield them with its full power. Black Adam faces Darkseid, blasting him into the ground and freeing Darkseid from the darkness's control, but the villain knows the Justice League cannot win this battle. The darkness returns to him and blasts Adam with his Omega beams, as Green Lantern makes some League constructs, using them to keep the army off of them. John finds that the monsters can't handle his light, and Pryor knows it's because he's the pinnacle of the Green Lantern's power, but the darkness has no limit unlike the light, and the darkness's army is larger thanks to Darkseid. It's revealed that the Quintessence are now all possessed by the darkness, as is the Spectre, who proclaims that they now have become the spirit of darkness. Pryor's machine almost finishes powering up as Wonder Woman saves Batman from the shadows. Green Arrow and Black Canary take on Doomsday, with Oliver asking Dinah to keep the villain busy as he jumps past the beast, firing an arrow through the battlefield and into Pryor's machine, blowing it up. President Superman finds the army is weakening as they disappear altogether. Oliver hopes that his friends are glad that he came now, wanting to wrap this all up so he can go home and make some chili. Suddenly, Oliver is smashed into the ground by Doomsday, his back broken. Dinah blows the villain off of him with her scream, rushing to her husband's aid and demanding to know why he followed her. Oliver says that he will follow her anywhere as he passes out in her arms. Pryor continues to try and fix the machine as the Trinity confront him, telling him it's over. Batman tells Dr. Multiverse to get Oliver and the team back to the Hall of Justice, but Maya tries to explain that Pryor is a lot more dangerous than they think. Pryor tells the heroes they've only delayed the inevitable, and he hoped their talk of heroic sacrifice for the greater good was more than words, but instead they'll now be mourned. He kills Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman with an energy blast, firing and killing the rest of the Justice League, screaming that he wanted to bring peace to the multiverse and make amends for his sins. Black Adam attacks, punching Pryor, but his blows do nothing as Pryor stops him, saying that he survived the deaths of Infinite Earths, and how did Adam think that a punch from a false god would hurt him? The Justice League Incarnate are all killed by the energy wave as Adam screams Shazam, blasting him and Pryor apart with his lightning bolt. Adam falls to the ground, blacking out as on Earth Zero, the League who remained behind try and figure out where their friends were teleported to as Superman arrives, telling them Robin let him know that Batman was teleported away and hasn't returned, wondering about his own father. They suddenly hear a huge explosion, realizing that it was something crashing into the meeting room. John and Wally race to the destroyed room, finding Black Adam has crashed through the roof, ranting about the entire Justice League being killed.